It's this type of makeup or that kind of shoes. But I gotta tell you, girl, hey, just do what you wanna do. Cause you don't need no tips from an old magazine. You don't have to be perfect for me. Cause girl, you know they're all gonna talk, and who knows if they're ever gonna stop. It'll take a lot more than that to get me to leave. You don't have to be perfect for me. Oh yeah. Cause girl, you know they're all gonna talk, and who knows if they're ever gonna stop. It'll take a lot more than that to get me to leave. You don't have to be perfect for me. You don't have to be perfect for me. Yeah. You gotta show all them how to dance. you gotta teach them how to dance. That was the original song. That was off my 2015 EP. I'll take you back to the 90s here. It gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. We laid rubber on the Georgia asphalt. Got a little crazy, but we never got caught. Down by the river on a Friday night, pyramid of cans in the pale moonlight. Talking about cars and dreaming about women. Never had a plan, just a living for the minute. Well, way down yonder on Chattahoochee, never knew how much muddy water meant to me. I learned how to swim, learned who I was. A lot about living and a little about love, yeah. Well, we found out the winners of my own Chevy. I was willing, but she wasn't ready. So I settled for a burger and a grape so cone. Dropped her off early, but I didn't go home. Down by the river on a Friday night, pyramid of cans in the pale moonlight. Talking about cars and dreaming about women. Never had a plan, just a living for the minute. Well, way down yonder on Chattahoochee, never knew how much muddy water meant to me. I learned how to swim, learned who I was. A lot about living and a little about love. Whoa! Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. We laid rubber on the Georgia asphalt. Got a little crazy, but we never got caught. Down by the river on a Friday night, pyramid cans in the pale moonlight. Talking about cars and dreaming about women. Never had a plan, just a living for the minute. Well, way down yonder on Chattahoochee, never knew how much muddy water meant to me. I learned how to swim, learned who I was. A lot about living and a little about love. A lot about living and a little about love. Thank you.
Corey Braddis, StoryCounty.News. We are here at the Cornucopia in Ames, where I'm sitting next to a local talent, a guy who grew up in Iowa, in Manning, Iowa, Brad Morgan here, and Manning turned Nashville. So, Brad, obviously people are excited to have you here tonight at the Cornucopia performing here in West Ames. Talk a little bit about, I mean, we were just talking about it, but talk a little bit about your roots in Iowa and how you got your start in country music.
Yeah, definitely. I grew up in Manning, Iowa, which is about an hour and a half west of here. And, you know, I just grew up always surrounded by music, listening to all different genres. And, you know, country was kind of the one that stuck. I started playing in high school, and I had an older brother that played guitar in bands, and I had an uncle that played, and, you know, just kind of grew up around it, I guess. And, you know, by the time I got to college, I started high school and college, I started playing all over the place, just, you know, anything and everything. So,
biggest influencer for you? I mean, I'm assuming. Let me take a stab. I'm guessing Garth Brooks was probably in there somewhere. I mean, that was kind of your era when you were growing up, right? I mean, maybe talk about your influencers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you're a country artist without, you know, looking up to Garth in some aspect or another. You know, I grew up a huge Kenny Chesney fan, Eric Church, Johnny Cash, but, you know, there's also, I was into rock too. I liked Guns N' Roses, Metallica, you know, a few hip hop here and there. So, you know, I had older siblings that were all into different types of music that, you know, they all just kind of blended together for me.
How many people in Manning, Iowa?
1,500.
1,500. That's more than I would have estimated. But so what's it like to make that move? I mean, talk about that. That is the epitome. I'm sure people, you know, they look at you and they think, man, you are the epitome of a small town country boy. So what's that like?
Well, you know, I went to college in Ankeny, in Des Moines area community college, and you know, I'd come up here and had a lot of friends that lived in Ames and went to Iowa State, and you know, so I grew up in a small town, but it was close enough to the Des Moines, Omaha, Ames that, you know, it was kind of like when I've lived in those areas in Ankeny, I could kind of get my feet wet and get used to, you know, the city life in a sense. And then when I moved to Nashville, it was, you know, it was definitely a change, but, you know, it was just like living in any other big city. So,
talk about COVID a little bit. I don't want to kind of go to a sour note, but that was obviously a challenge. We actually just covered Brian White and Wade Hayes. They were in Nevada just the other day, and Billy Dean. We talked with some of those artists about the challenges for the country music genre and artists. Maybe talk about that as it relates to you. Neil Hewitt's another guy, another country guy who's local that certainly struggled during COVID. What's it been like for you, and how have you been able to make it through to this point? You're still standing.
It's definitely been tough, you know, and I think the thing people don't realize is that's an industry that's still hurt. You know, a lot of people have been back, and we're just starting to get back right now. And, you know, it's not just the artists, it's the, you know, people that help build the stages, it's the people that drive the buses and, you know, and the venues, you know, and everything. It just hurts so many people, and it's good to be back at it again.
Absolutely. We certainly feel the same way, be able to cover an event like this today. And I want to sort of segue into a different topic, and that is Lisa Downs, who is the event coordinator here at the Cornucopia. Talked a little bit to me about how you were kind of struck by the idea of having a food drive associated with, or a food drive, if you will, associated with the event tonight. Now, of course, when this airs, this will all be over, but the idea of a nonprofit excited you. Why?
Well, I mean, anytime you can, you know, help somebody or do something good, you know, when, you know, I'm going to play a gig anyways, it's like, why not help somebody, and why not, you know, make that contribution and get people together for a good thing.
Absolutely. And talk a little bit about your music. I know you've produced a number of singles. I was listening to them yesterday. So talk a little bit about your music for somebody who hasn't heard of Brad Morgan, whether they're here in Iowa or wherever across the country. Talk a little bit about your hits.
Yeah, I guess my music, it's kind of a blend between modern country and older traditional country. Lately, my most recent single was You Don't Know, and that's kind of more of a mix between bluegrass, rock, country. You know, you can't really put a finger on what genre it is. But yeah, you know, I've released an EP, a couple albums, a few singles, and I mean, I try to do about a single or two a year, and, you know, keep that rolling with the original music.
and I was listening to you through Spotify, but for someone who wants to listen to Brad Morgan, maybe talk about some different platforms.
Yeah, pretty much anywhere you listen to music these days, whether it's Apple or Spotify or Google Play, whatever, wherever you download music, wherever you stream it, you can still get physical copies on my website at bradmorgan.net. But yeah, you can pretty much find it anywhere you listen to music these days.
And finally, last thing before we go here, if anybody's watching this that says, I want to get that guy at my venue, I know you're on tour, and I think I overheard you talking, you're going to be going into some different states here soon. Maybe talk a little bit about the tour, and if somebody wants to schedule you, how do they go about doing that?
Yeah, like I said earlier, we're back on the road. We're back at it. We're doing a lot of the Midwest states this summer, a little bit of Tennessee. But yeah, I guess the best way is go on my website. I have a contact information on there. If you want to book anything, I do anything from fairs to festivals to venues like this to private events. So I guess the best way is on the website.
Will we see you at the State Fair this year?
Absolutely.
The State Fair is happening this year after getting canceled last year, and I'm sure that was a big part of your childhood growing up, as it is for us as well. So, Brad, we appreciate the time this evening. We look forward to the show. And again, if you want to check out Brad Morgan on Facebook, maybe we didn't talk about your social platforms. I'm assuming Instagram, Twitter.
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
And of course, bradmorgan.net, correct? So check him out, schedule him, and check out his music on wherever you listen to your music. So again, thanks to Brad Morgan. This is Corey Brada signing out from StoryCounty.News at the Cornucopia in West Ames. We'll talk to you soon. Corey Brada, StoryCounty.News. I'm joined by our presenting sponsor for this evening's Brad Morgan concert at the Cornucopia in West Ames. And joined by Matt Bierbauer. I didn't butcher the name, so we'll give me a pass for now, Matt. But with Cybauer Renovations. So, Matt, first of all, talk a little bit about what made you want to support this event here. And really nice guy. We just got done talking to Brad. What made you want to support this event tonight?
Salvation Army. I think they do a really good job with helping everybody out. And then Brad's just a local, country singer. Want to get out and support him, and just love country music and what it's about.
Okay, you love country music, so obviously Brad's your number one guy. We won't address that. But who else? Who is on your bucket list of people maybe that you want to see in concert, have seen? Who do you listen to when you turn on your radio?
A lot. I mean, a lot of different music. Basically, it's country though. Miranda Lambert, of course. Toby Keith. Those just the big names like that.
We did an interview with Brian White a couple weeks ago, and I asked him, who is your favorite country artist of 2021? You know who he said? He said, I really like where Miranda Lambert's at right now.
Right.
And I totally agree with that. So talk a little bit about Cybauer Renovations. You're out of Huxley, as I understand it. Talk a little bit about what services you guys offer.
We do about everything. We do residential and commercial, anywhere from building new houses to just remodels or even handyman stuff. So we can help with about anything.
And so if somebody wants to reach out, they're interested in your services, whether they were here or not, or they're listening to this after the show, how can they get in touch with you or maybe receive a quote?
They can either call me. My phone number is 515-802-7026, or I have a Facebook page. They can go on and see Cybauer Renovations on Facebook. Awesome
to hear. Matt Bierbauer. And let me ask you about your name. I mean, talk about the roots of your name. That's a pretty cool name.
Yeah, it's unique, very much so. My family, actually, my grandfather came from Germany, and it's funny, growing up, you hear all different sorts of parts of your name, and my kids they're younger, and they're always like, Dad, they're making fun of our name, and I'm like, oh, right now they do, but when you're like 21, they'll love it.
Exactly. And plenty of beer and drinks and refreshments here at the Cornucopia. I didn't want to forget our venue here, our gracious venue that is supporting Matt and Brad Morgan tonight, and plenty of events on the calendar, so you can visit thecornucopia.com. And again, check out Cybauer Renovations on Facebook. Thank you for the time, Matt. We look forward to the show tonight.
Thank you.
All right, Corey Brada, StoryCounty.News signing off. We'll talk to you soon.